Okay, so this collaboration is being done with a lot of other channels about understanding where your food comes from. And this isn't about criticizing anyone having to go to the grocery store. I go to the grocery store all the time. But it's about knowing where it comes from and knowing how it's raised. If you look at the clips from the beginning of the video, we've got vegetables from many other countries. And yeah, there's things that may not grow in your side of the country, but for the most part, we can grow a good bit, at least in the United States. Fruits and vegetables and things that are grown overseas have to be irradiated, okay? And that means a very tiny little bit of radiation, which kills insects. It's to prevent the crossover and, of disease and parasites from one country to another. However, the seeds are no longer viable. It kills them too. But do you really want to eat something that's been irradiated? So trying to buy local. If you can have a garden or even a container garden, if you live in an apartment and you can grow tomatoes and peppers for the summer and, in herbs, go for it. If you have a small place to where you can have a little bit bigger garden and you can and preserve and maybe have some chickens, all of those things are wonderful. Not everyone can do that. However, if you go and you purchase from farmers and other local homesteaders your produce and your eggs and maybe your milk, and go to a local butcher that sources the meat from local farmers, so you get good grass-fed beef and you know where it's coming from and you know how it was raised. That's going to be so much better for your family than what you buy, most of what you buy at the grocery store. Some people might even be fortunate enough. My parents have one in their town where there is a very small little grocery store, and everything in that store is sourced from local farms. Everything. With the exception, I think they do have essential oils, but everything is sourced from local farmers. So you can get, now I know they can't have raw milk because I'm not even sure what states allow raw milk. I know ours does not. You have to get it through a herd share program. But they do have the minimally pasteurized milk there. Fresh eggs, all different types of seasonal vegetables. Another thing to help you is you say, well, I can't get that here at this time of year, or I can't get that because we don't grow that here. So try to find it from, that it comes from the U.S. if possible. We go to local orchards to get our apples and our fruits. We can get peaches, pears, apples, pecans, and we can also get strawberries. We are starting raspberries now, but we don't have enough for me to process any, so I go to a farm and get strawberries locally. So support those. We want those to stay here. There are a lot. There's several orchards here that used to be close to us that are no longer here because they just couldn't keep up, or the kids didn't want to carry on the tradition. And we want to try to support those and keep those in line, because keeping local, knowing how it was raised, and getting that good food for your family is going to help you health-wise. It was kind of scary for me. I know most of us aren't going to be able to get local salmon. But if you look at the clip of the salmon, it is wild, sustainably caught. Okay, that sounds great, right? However, you flip it over and it says it was caught in the waters of the U.S., packaged in China, and sent back. Why didn't we just package it? It had to go all the way over there, and I don't know what they did with it over there, and then sent it back. And meat is probably the scariest one for me, because they aren't required to tell you the origin that I know of. It always just tells you where it was packaged. So you don't know where that meat came from. We're lucky, we're very lucky. We butcher our own chickens that we raise. We're starting to butcher ducks so we can have meat. We do hunt for deer meat. And we're very fortunate that we have a family member that has grass-fed beef. So we are very, very lucky. Now, if I want pork, I still have to buy it from the store, and we are looking into buying it elsewhere. So this is not a video of criticizing anyone for, just trying to feed their family. This is just try to be more aware of what you're eating, and try to avoid those packaged foods too. So I'm going to show you guys my stash of food that we've been able to produce for ourselves, so that way we can buy less from the grocery store and be a little self-sustainable. I think paying attention to where your food comes from is really important in terms of our health and trying to support farmers, or being able to be self-sustainable and support yourself. So a couple different things that are really important about trying to be aware of that. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people just go to the store, buy what they're in the mood for, and that's it. I mean, I've even got a family member that looked at me, because we raise our own chickens for butchering, and said, why don't you just go buy it at the store? That'd be so much cheaper and easier. That's true, but I don't know how those animals were processed. I don't know how they were raised, what they were fed. Mine, I do. So, well, without further ado, let me go ahead and head on into the pantry, and we'll take a look in there. Okay, one way we get closer to our food is whatever we grow and harvest, we preserve it. So we have, I think, a total of 5 different types of pickles. We have relish, so I don't have to buy that with all the sugars and corn syrups added into it. We have beans. These are a horticulture bean, so they're similar to a kidney bean. So we have those. We have bone broth that came from the carcasses of the chickens that I processed. We have apples and applesauce from apples I picked up from a local orchard that doesn't use any pesticides or anything like that. That's more bone broth. I also have beef broth from our grass-fed beef. We have diced tomatoes, homemade salsa, we have pickled peppers, squash, carrots. All of this we either grew or picked up locally. That is chili that I made with my tomatoes, my onions, my peppers, my grass-fed beef. We don't raise beef, but my uncle does, and he raises it grass-fed. So again, keeping all close, there's applesauce, more pickles down there, tomato sauce that I made, green beans. And then I take some of the chickens that we raise, and I process them, and then I can it. Up there I have soups and more green beans and more chicken. We were actually pretty well out of beef. I'm hoping to get a deer so I can have some red meat in the house. But again, knowing where that food comes from. Oh, I forgot, I've got potatoes up here too. But knowing where that food comes from. So not all of it came from our homestead. You know, we can't, on our 5 acres, we can't grow everything. But the bulk of it is here. A good bit of our vegetables and things, and the chicken, of course, and then we get the beef sourced from a family member. I hunt deer meat, and then anything else that, you know, I really try not to get too much at the grocery store. And I mean, I'm not saying that you can't. It's just being more aware, trying to buy local if you can't produce it yourself, knowing what's in it instead of buying prepackaged foods or, you know, things that, I mean, it came from overseas. You don't know how they treated it, how they raised it, how it was processed, those kind of things. All right, so that's pretty much it. You can see what we do here, and I just wanted to put this out for folks to think a little bit more and be a little more aware of, you know, where their food comes from and what they're putting in their bodies. We all want to try to stay as healthy as possible. Want to thank you for watching. If you like what we do here, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications so you can be notified of future videos. I also want to thank everyone else that has joined me in this collaboration, and please check down below for the playlist of the others. I'm going to be trying to get those all gathered up and included in the description. So that way, if you'd like to check out some of those other videos of people who have joined me, you can do so. And thanks for joining us today at Haywire Homestead. Y'all take care.